Okay, so we will continue the Sammaditthi Sutta, which is a right view. The monks who are present at Savatthi in Anathpindika's monastery, they are asking to Venerable Sariputta what is right view and who are the disciples who has the right view and has arrived at this true Dhamma. So Venerable Sariputta is explaining them. The sutta is divided into 16 sections, and Venerable Sariputta is explaining them one by one. The interesting thing happens here that when one section is covered, all the monks there ask, Venerable Sariputta, is there any other way to understand Sammaditthi, to reach to Sammaditthi? And Venerable Sariputta says, yes, there's another way. If you do not understand the wholesome, the unwholesome, the roots of it, there is another way, which is nutriment. An interesting thing happens that after the finishing of the nutriment explanation, the monks again ask, Bhante, is there any other way? And then Venerable Sariputta says, yes, there is one more way, which is Four Noble Truths. And you know, the same thing, same sequence happens after every section up till teens. So here we are actually fortunate that we are getting different perspectives, different angles, 16 different angles to reach to Sammaditthi. In the last Wednesday, on last Wednesday, we have seen the unwholesome and the 10 unwholesome things. And all those unwholesome things were happening because of these three roots: greed, hatred, and delusion. We also saw the 10 kusal things, or the 10 wholesome things. The first three, which is the verbal action, abstaining from killing living beings, abstaining from taking what is not given, abstaining from misconduct. And the four, abstaining from false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, and gossip. These are the four wholesome, abstaining from all these are the four wholesome things. And remaining three, which is non-covetousness, non-ill will, and right view, they are the three wholesome things done mentally. And the reason for having all those wholesome qualities in us, the roots of these wholesome is non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. So there's one more sutta where Buddha was staying at Savatthi, the same monastery in Anathapindika's monastery. And one day a young man, his name was Subha, he went to Buddha one day and then he asked the question, why is it that some people have a short life and some have long life? Why some live longer and some die at an early age, at an young age? Some people are rich, wealthy, and some are very poor. Why some people live in luxury and some people are homeless and they suffer a lot? Buddha says, it is because of karma. Our own actions gives this result. It is the cause and effect. For example, a man or a woman who kills and is cruel, has the intention of hurting, has no compassion for beings. Because of this karma, after death, he or she is born in a suffering realm, or if that person is reborn as a human being in human realm, his life will be short. Now we can understand how can we live longer if we took the life of so many other people. In this life, actually, we may be very nice, following only the wholesome things. We may be very caring and sharing, but we are not sure that what we did in our previous lives. If a man or a woman does not kill, has no intention of killing or hurting, practices loving kindness and compassion towards all, because of this karma, he or she is born in a happy realm. If that person doing all this karma is reborn as a human being, then he or she will live longer. Short life, long life, illness, diseases, being poor or rich, being healthy, these are all the consequences of our action, of our wholesome, unwholesome actions. We will have to face the consequences of our action, maybe in this life or future life or any of the lives. So this was for the wholesome and unwholesome roots of wholesome. So further, the monks are asking if there is any other way. Venerable Sariputta says, yes, there's one more way. When a noble disciple understands nutriment, the origin of nutriment, that means the cause of nutriment, and the cessation of nutriment, and the way leading to the cessation of nutriment. In that way, he is one of right view, have faith in Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma. This pattern, you would understand what is this, that understanding something, origin of something, cessation of something, and the way leading to the cessation of something. This setting is actually the Four Noble Truths. Remember we did in one of the session. So the first noble truth, that there is suffering. The second noble truth, the origin of suffering. Third noble truth is the cessation of suffering. And the fourth noble truth is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So that suffering is being replaced by the word nutriment, because even this is a way to understand at least little bit some of the part and to arrive at Sammaditthi. So for that entire setting, we need to understand then what is nutriment. We even have to understand what is the origin of nutriment, the cessation of nutriment, and the way leading to the cessation of nutriment. So this nutriment, we know we need nutriment for the maintenance of beings. Nutriment is for the maintenance of beings that already have come to be, means for the person who already took a birth. They are born and they need nutriment, and even for the support of those about to come to be. That means the nutriment is necessary for the people who already took birth, and it is also necessary for the person who would be taking birth. And there are four kinds of nutriment. What for? They are, for the first one is a physical food, the second is contact, third is mental volition, and fourth is consciousness. We'll go one by one in detail. The first, the nutriment, we know that whatever we consume is nutriment. It is the nourishment. And because of nutriment, we can keep our body alive. So these four nutriments, the first one, the food, it's a physical food. It is called as a physical nutriment because we can touch it, we can see it. Remaining three, which is the contact, mental volition, and consciousness. These remaining nutriments are the mental nutriments. The first is a food because we can see it, and three are called the mental nutriments because we cannot see them, but we can realize them, we can understand them, and we can experience them. So let's go with the food, which is the first nutriment. So this food is a physical food or a material food that we eat. Because of food, we can sustain our body. Food is extremely important because if we do not eat food, we may die. All beings born in the world eat food for the continuation of their life. There are 31 planes of existence, or 31 realms, as to say, where beings reside, they live. One is we, that's human realm, the human beings live. We eat solid food, the material food or the physical food. And there's also animal realm. Animal realms, and that animal realms, they eat food. So few animals eat flesh of other animals. Few animals eat only leaves and plants. Few animals eat flowers. Some animals survive only on other insects or other small animals. So the type of the food varies, but we all need food in order to survive. Few beings in some realms need only the liquid food, and some beings do not even need physical food. But they not this physical food, but some beings in other realms, they need only the mental nutriments. We usually focus, we human beings usually focus on the quality of the food, but it's equally important on the state of mind and with what intention we are eating our food. For example, if we compare ourselves with the animals, they just want food, they think of food, and they do not have that state of mind that they can be mindful about that. We as a human beings have that capability to do so. For example, even the monks and the nuns, they eat food what they receive in lunch dan. But before eating, they reflect on the goodness of food. They express their gratitude. They say the stanzas before eating food. No? They say the food that I will consume now is not for pleasure, not for deliciousness, and not for the beautification, but only for the maintenance of this body, which will help me in the spiritual growth. How wonderful is that monks and nuns not expect tasty dishes, but eat and accept what they receive. They practice non-greed. They practice loving kindness and express gratitude towards all those lay followers, lay disciples who are sharing the food with them. That means they are also practicing non-hatred. It's a wonderful sight actually to see monk or a nun. Very fortunate for us if we get an opportunity to share something with them, with the monks and the nuns, whether it's food, clothes, or any basic necessity we can offer them. We, as a lay disciple, can practice the same intention while eating food, that we, being thankful to the food that we eat, being thankful to all because of we got food to eat, the one who makes the vegetable or who prepares food at home or make it available, even the farmers who grows it, everyone involved, and eating mindfully, chewing mindfully, being in that present moment and eating the food not for the enjoyment but to keep our body alive in order to practice. So this was the food one actually. Let's see the contact. This year they talked about contact, the 6 sense doors. So what are the 6 sense doors? The first is eye, second is ear, third is nose, fourth is tongue, fifth body, and sixth is mind. So these, I'll tell you why they are called as contact actually. It's not the physical contact, but the mental contact. So 6 sense doors, we'll see one by one in detail. This eye is actually coming in contact with a visible object or the sight. For example, right now, I'm looking at the eye, my eye right now is looking at this laptop screen. So this eye is coming in contact with the laptop screen. It is not that I'm touching this physically, the laptop screen, but that object actually is coming mentally in contact, coming in contact with the eye. So it's all mentally, not physically. Likewise, if you take the example of sound, I'm talking right now. So it's producing the sound and you all are hearing it. So your ear hearing the sound, that means your ear is coming in contact, the mental contact with my sound. Same case with the smell. The smell is coming in contact with the nose. Taste or the flavor is coming in contact with tongue. Touch has come in contact with body, and these mental objects, these are the thoughts, they are coming in contact with the mind. So this contact they're talking about here. And with all these contacts, there arises 3 feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. Only these 3 feelings can be arise with the help of any of the contact of these organs and coming in contact with these objects. So there is only 3 feelings. The painful feeling or the unpleasant feeling is suffering, we know, because it's easy to understand. Because anyways, it's a painful feeling. We are not liking it because it's unpleasant. But the pleasant feeling, that also brings suffering. How come it could be suffering? Because it is not permanent. It is temporary. It is through its transience. Since it is temporary and will not long forever, that means that pleasant feeling is only for some time, and since it is not forever, it may get replaced with the unpleasant feeling anytime. So it's suffering. And the neutral feeling, actually it is full of dullness and boredom. There is nothing enjoyment in that. So anyways, a little bit of suffering in that. Let's have a look at this one by one with the example, so you would understand the contacts and how it can be considered as a mental nutriment. So first, if we see this eye, there's a visible object. For example, just take the example of a movie. So this eye, when we watch a movie, any movie, horror movie or a war fighting movie or any soft, simple movie, whatever your favorite movie, we are feeding ourselves with the feeling and the emotions arising from watching that movie. If we wouldn't have watched that movie, we would not be consuming those emotions and arising, which is arising through watching the movie. So we not only consume through physical food, whatever we eat through our mouth, but also we consume through these 6 sense organs or these 6 sense faculties. Second is ear or the sound. For example, when we listen to the news channel or listening to music or songs, we again consume all the feelings arising from listening to the songs, arising from listening anything with the help of the physical element, which is ear. Now, if we take this third example, smell and nose. So when we smell something nice, like some smell of fresh food, of pretty scent from perfume or flowers, we consume that also. And one more thing here, we do one more step, which is when we smell something nice, we react to it and think it's so fresh smell, I want to smell more. So we are feeding against. First we smelled it, we feed our emotions, put it into consciousness, but then we want to have it more and more. That means we are feeding again and again. This is not only for the nose or the smell, but this is applicable to all the six sense faculties. If we don't like the smell or sound or visible object, we develop hatred and develop aversion of not wanting it. So feeding again, feeding the non-aversion to it. And one important thing to note down is all these sense faculties, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, they do not have liking, they do not have disliking on their own. But our consciousness decides whether we like them, whether we want them, whether we dislike it or don't like it. And one thing that this ear, eye, nose, tongue, body and mind, they can see only the present because they are just the element. They are just the physical element. But it is the consciousness that stores all that, which would be our, the fourth nutriment, that consciousness. So these physical elements we talk about, six, we consume, it is called as mental nutriment because we are consuming it. And they are not the culprit, they are just the physical elements. Eye, ear, nose, that is very necessary for a being to have that, because that helps for the remaining processes. But once we realize that if it is used, we do not use it, consume it for the negative things, we have to be so very careful actually to use it for the proper purpose. Let's see this mental volition now. What is mental volition? The intention or the will that direct us to take any action. That intention, intentional thoughts, actually, the thought, any thoughts with the intention, any thoughts with the will, are mental effort that directs to do any action, whether it's physical, mental, or verbal action. Those are called as a mental volition. Our decisions are based on this mental volition. It is that mental volition that with the help of them, we take the decision and think, oh, I should do the wholesome action or good action. I should do the unwholesome action or the bad action. Now, this volition is important whether you feed as a nutriment for future births, because that also decides your future birth, what you're consuming. And there are in total, if we see, 52 mental volitions. But for this, for now, we will not need all those to go through in detail, but just the top six types of volition, because it is related to this. So the first, all the thoughts of form, every thinking of the form which is related to the I, that would be considered as a volition with the I consciousness. The thinking of sound related to the ear, thinking of smell related to the nose, and thinking of taste related to the tongue, thinking of touch related to the body. Likewise, thinking of mind objects related to the mind. These are all the mental volitions, 6 different mental volitions we create with this process. As soon as any object comes in contact with the sense faculties, we create all those mental volitions, develop the consciousness. That's the process. The Buddha had said that it is that mental volition that I called kamma, actually. So that mental volition, it is that important that it can create the kamma. Now, the last one is consciousness. So this consciousness, all the totality, all the experiences, and also all the associated memories of our past, that is also stored in consciousness. That quality of being aware, that consciousness. For example, this I comes in contact with any object or form. The I consciousness arises along with mental factors. Similar with the sound in the ear comes in contact with sound. Ear do not react. It can't react. It is not meant to react. It is just like an organ and have the function of hearing the sound. So that ear is just nothing but just a physical element or an organ. That sound also do not have any feelings. It is just a sound. But as soon as the ear hears the sound, the ear consciousness arises. And these three things together comes in contact. What three things? Ear, sound, and ear consciousness. Same case with the nose and the smell. The nose or the smell, they are coming in contact with each other. That till that time it's okay. But as soon as the nose comes in contact with the smell, the nose consciousness arises along with the mental factors, and there we start the process. I want this, I do not want this. Same case with the taste. Taste come in contact with the tongue, tongue consciousness arises depending on the flavors and all those things. Same case with the touch, body, and the mental objects. Mental objects are all these thoughts, okay? These thoughts come in contact with the mind, and the mind consciousness arises. For example, we tend to keep our past experiences. I took this example previously, but even I will take it now. It's quite common, and then maybe everyone else would be able to relate it. That's fine. So all the past experiences, we want them to be alive within us. For example, someone hurted us in the past, maybe 5 years back, 10 years, or some time in the past. That act has been done some time back, but when we think of that incident again and again, we feed those same emotions about that incident which happened years and years back. We are feeding those emotions again and again. So that act is done, not relevant at all today. But instead of forgetting and letting go of that anger or hatred, we carry those emotions for days, months, years. And then what we do, we feed our consciousness to suffer more, because we are thinking of that incident, again suffering. That consciousness is keeping on adding it like a memory. When it comes to these sense doors, all these eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, we should have the attitude of like a security guard, letting only the fruitful thing entering in our mind, entering in our consciousness. We must, it's encouraged actually that we must consume only the non-anger, non-hatred, non-ignorance. So this physical nutriments which we saw, the food, and the three mental nutriments make us what we are. So we have to be very careful. I hope you understood this nutriment. Now further we'll see that Venerable Sariputta is saying, with the arising of craving, the first part was nutriment, right? And the second is the cause of the nutriment. The next is the cessation of nutriment, and the fourth is the way leading to the cessation of nutriment. So we understood nutriment. Now Venerable Sariputta is saying, what is the origin of nutriment? Why do we have the nutriment? Why do you want to have the nutriment? Because there's a craving. Since we have the craving, we want to have that nutriment. So with the arising of craving, there is arising of nutriment. And with the cessation of craving, there's a cessation of nutriment. If there is no craving, there would be no nutriment as well. The way leading to cessation of the nutriment, what is the way? It's the Noble Eightfold Path, the right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. In some of the sessions and other suttas, we would be looking at this in very detail. Every single path, all this eightfold path, we will see in detail. Right now we are looking at the right view. We covered this little bit of part 1 section and last Wednesday, and I think we would need 2 months to cover the right view. Imagine how many months we would take to cover the entire eightfold path. So further, Venerable Sariputta is saying, when a noble disciple has thus understood nutriment, the origin of nutriment, which is the craving, the cessation of nutriment, and the way leading to the cessation of nutriment, which is the Noble Eightfold Path, he entirely abandons the greed, the hatred, which is aversion, and even the ignorance, the illusion, the conceit I am, that this is my body, these are my organs, I control those organs. Actually, we don't have that much of control to that, but we have that conceit that I'm controlling this is my body, this is me. But when we follow all this, we develop the tendency of abandoning the ignorance. We abandon greed, hatred, ignorance, and therefore we make an end of the suffering. And that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has unwavering confidence in Dhamma and has arrived at this true Dhamma. So this we covered today, the nutriment, and in the next class we will cover the Four Noble Truth. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Bhante, and thank you everyone.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.